So is it Sid or is it Jack or what do I call you?
Let me set the record straight. It's Dr. Wolfula, okay?
Okay, Dr. Wolfula it is.
That Sid guy, yeah, it's just his YouTube channel. I sometimes break into his house and I use his computer, and it's just because, I don't have my own computer because I hear they can track you with those. So I just go into random people's houses, and I found this guy. I was just walking by and I saw they had a YouTube channel. He was like, well, he was looking at pornography, but I saw on the other tab there was a YouTube page, and then I saw, oh look, Jack Stickman. Okay, whatever. It works fine. I'll use it, but I don't know. It's kind of an embarrassing name, but name's not Jack. That guy's name is not Jack. I peeked at his driver's license. His name isn't even Sid. It's just, guy is living a fucking lie. But my name is Dr. Wolfula. I'm a Wolfulite. I live in a place called the Wolfulair. The address is 6969 Bullshit Street. And yeah, I make videos, but I don't have an internet connection. So I have to, sometimes I like to go to the library. In fact, I'm at the library right now doing this. So yeah.
So this is going to be the most bizarre conversation I've had, I imagine.
Why do you take out all your anger on Goulash?
You see, he didn't turn out the way I wanted him to. I was trying to create an army of, I read a book called Frankenstein. In fact, I didn't even read the book. I just saw Frankenstein Unbound, that weird 1990 fucking Frankenstein movie. I don't even know what Frankenstein is about. So I just got the idea from that one. It's about a guy who he basically has a time machine, and he goes back in time to meet Mary Shelley, but apparently Mary Shelley knew Victor Frankenstein, like for real, and she just basically plagiarized this whole guy's life. And that guy deserves royalties because he was a real dude, but she was like, I'm so clever. Look at this, Baron, whatever your fucking name is. Look at this clever writing I wrote. No. And the dude time traveling actually screws Mary Shelley. I'm not even joking. He actually has sex with Mary Shelley.
When did you start becoming obsessed with Scooby-Doo?
Ever since 1969, That's when Scooby-Doo took America by storm. Watched it on back in the day, we didn't have televisions. No, we had television sets. And we used these television sets to watch television. And on these television sets, where we watched the television, we watched, you were lucky if you had color. Scooby-Doo happened to be in color, but I had a black and white TV, and it was about the size of, I guess you could, the best way to compare it, it was like, I guess the size of a Game Boy cartridge. So it was a very small TV. I don't know. It wasn't the best way to watch Scooby-Doo. I don't know how I became a fan of it, especially since it was, you couldn't even hear it. I got the radio signals got crossed too. In fact, I'm not even sure if I was watching Scooby-Doo, honestly. I couldn't hear anything and I could barely see it, but I don't know. Somehow I became a fan of Scooby-Doo, and I've been a fan ever since.
How old are you?
How old am I?
Yeah.
Beginning of time, baby. Jesus.
Beginning of time.
In fact, I'm older than Jesus since I brought him up.
But, I remember that game. What was your favorite, 80s cartoon, shit like that?
80s cartoon show.
Yeah, if you had to nail it down to something
back in '79, there was this fucking weird show. It wasn't really weird because if I tell you what it is, it was the Flintstones meet the Thing, and I'm talking about the Marvel Comics Thing, the thing that's in the Fantastic Four, the thing that's going to be in a movie this year. But this version of the Thing was not part of the Fantastic Four, and just so you know, it's not the title is misleading because the Flintstones don't actually meet the Thing. It was back when cartoons basically shared the same time slot. So you'd watch a show, but it was just a Flintstone short and then a Thing short. But the Thing in this show, he wasn't the Thing from Fantastic Four. He was this teenage boy who, a lot like Captain Marvel, he has these Thing rings, and he says, "Thing rings, do your thing." And then he turns into the Thing, and he looks like the Marvel Comics Thing, and he is the Marvel Comics Thing. But he is not that Thing. He's a different thing.
So what is it like a
gotta be-
ripoff or like?
No. It's an official cartoon. They just probably just thought, the Thing is the only interesting character in the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
So let's just give him a show and get rid of these other fucking guys.
He's just like a more tamed version of the Hulk. Like I don't know, man. Like
The Thing predates the Hulk, I'd like to say. So
in comic books, it predates him.
yeah, Thing predates the Hulk. Fantastic Four is what put Stan Lee on the map. That was his first huge success.
Before
And
Spider-Man.
then he basically used that as leverage to basically get his editor to approve of all of his other crazy fucking ideas, like a Spider-Man.
Oh,
Like, I don't know what he was
predates
fucking
that.
thinking with a Spider-Man. What, a guy who climbs up walls and shit? That's fucking crazy.
I love the cartoon.
I haven't heard from Spider-Man since the 60s, but I doubt it's become popular.
Do you remember the cartoons? Where was the webbing going? Do you remember the opening where the webbing's like just going into the sky?
Well, I'll tell you this much. He always had this helicopter. They didn't tell you this, but he always had a helicopter and he just swing from that. It was he knew a helicopter pilot, okay? That's pretty much all you need to know. Case closed.
Provided by Wayne Manor.
Yeah, the Batcopter. In fact, it wasn't the Batcopter, it was actually the Whirly Bat. So, if you don't know what the Whirly Bat, that's an actual thing that exists in Batman canon. It was basically a bicycle that Batman rode in, and it worked like a helicopter, but it was like a little tiny bicycle that he called the Whirly Bat.
How long ago was that? Because that, like my first
40s, 50s.
Oh, really? Yeah, and then they had they had a 50s show, but it didn't last too long. And then they had a couple.
No, it was
movies.
a serial. Back in the old days, we didn't have television sets. I'm talking about the 40s, the 30s. We didn't have television sets. Instead, we had these huge television sets called movie theaters. And, we'd watch a lot of the same things that you'd watch on television today, only they were on big screens. And I'm talking about huge screens. Like, I'd say you'd need like 10 men to compare to these screens or something like that. I'm not very good at math, but I'd say you'd need a lot of screens. But anyway, it was a big screen, and we'd watch movies, we'd watch cartoons, and we'd watch news. Yeah, we'd watch the news at a movie theater. It was something.
Yeah,
it was something else.
Actually, true. Yeah.
What are your
Alright.
opinions on Courage the Cowardly Dog?
Oh, it was a fantastic show. We watched it on television sets that became TVs because it was the 90s at the time. We had shortened it to TV by then. But yeah, it was a great show. It started out very dark and scary, but I think as it went along, it became much more like, I think at a certain point there was like a banana world that they went to, and it became a little less scary and much more just a silly cartoon for kids. But they still had occasionally scary stuff, and it was pretty unusual because it got really dark sometimes. I mean, I think one of the main characters is an elderly man who dies in every episode, I believe. They found a new way to kill him off in every single episode.
Look at God, what was his name?
Eustace. He got killed in every episode.
Eustace and Muriel. Yeah, that's what it is. It's been a while. Yeah, and
It's been a while.
I don't. Oh, yeah, as Stain would say.
Name the best ass in horror.
Bruce Campbell.
All
Have
right.
you seen that? Oh my gosh. Back in the 80s? Jeez.
He must.
And it's looking pretty good in the new TV series, too. He's, it's pretty impressive.
What do you guys think the worst horror movie remake is?
Someone saying House of
Honestly,
Wax.
I'd probably say the worst one is Psycho because it's a shot-for-shot remake of the original movie.
Bingo.
In color.
Yeah,
Bingo. Watch my
Yeah.
review on that. Watch my review on that.
Vince Vaughn, my dude from Wedding Crashers.
And
Wedding
the only significant thing that they added to the Psycho remake is they show Vince Vaughn as Norman Bates masturbating.
Oh,
like
God.
you can hear it, and that's pretty much it.
Okay. If you ever.
So if you saw the first Psycho, and you're thinking, man, this movie would be a lot better if it had Vince Vaughn jerking off, then yeah, go ahead and see the remake because it's better than the original in that regard. So yeah. Like, when I watched the Psycho remake, I expected Owen Wilson to jump out and say, wow. But he didn't, and I was kind of disappointed about that. I wanted to see Owen Wilson, but you can't get everything you want.
have you ever heard of or seen Bates Motel, which is apparently just I don't really know what it is. I know it's has to do with
I saw-
the plot of Psycho.
Yeah, I saw season 1 and 2, but
So-
only because somebody wanted to watch it. But it's a pretty good show, you know. Whatever. It's not a terrible show. It's just I don't see the whole point in visiting that, but it's done well. But one of the main like big plot points of the show, like one of the most important thing, is that Norman Bates has a brother who is involved in a marijuana farming ring or something, and that's a very integral part of the series. And it has very little to do with Norman Bates and what he's up to, but it's just random. But the guy playing Norman Bates is pretty good on that show, and it's good for that. But I don't know what's up with the brother. I don't know why we need to see him growing marijuana. Marijuana isn't even that big of a drug. Like they treat it like it's the most hardcore drug possible, but whatever. It's still a pretty decent show. It's fine.
Thanks a lot for dropping by. I know everybody's really excited to hear from you. It was a lot of fun. I love all the different characters you do, and you got some knowledge on you too. So good on you, man. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
All
Bye.
right. Thanks a lot.
All right. See ya.
Take
Love
care,
you.
bud.